We don't plan for here, but we plan for there. You follow me? If Jesus is coming soon, how should we live our lives? First. Secondly, if Jesus is coming soon, how soon is he coming? Because some people can say, yes, he is coming soon, but it's going to be another 100 or 50 years or whatever. How soon is soon? Do you follow me? How soon is soon? We know, we give in evangelism seminars, we give Matthew 24 events, you remember? And we will talk a little more about that. But you don't have to be a religious person. You don't have to read the Bible. Today, non-theologians believe that something is happening. Scientists believe that something is happening. In fact, there is a strong interest like never before in the media, science, scholars, all are interested in what is going on. The world has gone crazy. Something is happening. Since 9/11, things have changed. You agree? Everything has changed since 9/11. There is a sense that the end is near. People wonder what is going on. For instance, scientist called Eugene Linden, in a book called The Future in Plain Sight, he talks about the end of the world as we know it. And he says, the world cannot last. And he says there is no more water, there is no more food, there is no more air, there is no more resources. All we have, he says, is going to end within 25 to 30 years. And then we are done. German magazine, written by a scientist, says the world cannot last more than 25 years. If you know a little, if you have information, all the resources are gone. Another magazine in America says the way diseases grow, increase, in about 25 years, there will be no healthy baby born. Wow. You better have babies today. Another scientist, like an Einstein of our days, in a book called A Brief History of Time. Do you know Dr. Stephen Hawking? He looks like strange because he has a strange disease, but he is an Einstein. He is very smart. Okay, he says, I fear that since the evolutionary, he believes in evolution, he doesn't believe in the Bible. As I said, you don't have to believe in the Bible to believe that the world is over. He says that our long-term survival and hope for our species, the human species, is in question. However, he thinks if we keep from destroying each other for 100 years, sufficient time to develop technology so we can fly to other planets, then we will not be eradicated. He thinks that we will disappear. The world is over. But if we invent some type of rockets that we can fly quick to whatever planets, we will still survive. Well, I do agree that the world is crazy, it's going to end. I just believe that we will fly to a different planet called heaven. Some. Hopefully we. Well, what does Jesus say about it? You know, they talk about collapse of economy, end of resources, wars. They talk about what the Bible talks, but they don't believe in the Bible, yet they preach the Bible better than we do. So, Jesus says, you know to discern the sky, yet you cannot discern the signs of the times? Another scientist, he died many years ago. He used to have programs about ocean life. You remember him? How many of you heard about Jacques Cousteau? Have you seen any programs? Beautiful. Now, if you like water. When we went to Hawaii, we got snorkeling and then scuba diving. I tell you what, when that turtle that was as big as from there to here got between me and Dana, we both froze. And I looked to her, and I was here, Dana was there, and the turtle came up right between us and did that to me and that to her, and then ignored us. And I said to Dana, and Dana says, well, Dr. Jacques Cousteau worked in this area, ocean, animals, nature. You know what he said, analyzing nature? He says, the world has no more than 40 years. And that was in 70s. Hello? No more than 40 years to sustain human life. So going to the Bible and forgetting science, one out of every 25 verses in the New Testament is related to second coming. Did you know that? Why in the world we are ready for anything but second coming? When the whole Bible's climax is the second coming. When this is what it's all about. This is why Jesus died, that he may come and take us back. I go to prepare a place, and if I go, I will come again and take you there. That's what it's all about. That he would restore us to the place that we lost. I tell you what, when Dana has an inspection, you know what she does? She prepares for it. If Jesus is coming, shouldn't we prepare, not just talk, but do? There is something common in many, many Bible verses. I'm not going to give all of them. I'm going to give a few. Look, he's coming with the clouds, and every eye shall see him. I'm coming soon. Hold on to what you have, so no one will take your crown. I am coming soon. Blessed is the one who keeps the prophecies. What did you see common? Look, I'm coming soon. My reward is with me. He who testifies says, I'm coming soon. He comes like a thief. What do you see there? I'm coming how? Quick, soon. It's a sense of urgency. Jesus says, you don't have time to plan for other things. You really need to plan for my coming. It's going to happen. Don't imagine another 5 generations or another 1 generation. You don't want to take it, you lose it. You better prepare. There is another word that is very common in all this stuff. The key word there is watch. Therefore keep watch, because you don't know. But you are in darkness, and it says, he's coming like a thief, therefore you need to watch. The end is near, therefore be alert and sober. That means watch. So, let me just give a quick background. What happened? Jesus went to Jerusalem, and he talked to the Pharisees and Sadducees and teachers of the law and to all the good people who go to church and go to camp meeting and so on and keep Sabbath. They did keep Sabbath and did go to camp meeting. And Jesus talks to them, and Jesus says, listen, you are in big trouble because you think, because you go to church and you keep this stuff and you do this stuff and you eat this stuff and you don't eat this stuff, you think because you are children of Abraham and you are Adventists, you think you are okay, but you are not okay. And then Jesus says to them, Jerusalem, Jerusalem, who kills the prophets, how many times I long to gather your children as a hen gathers her chicks. And then he says, your house is left desolate. You will not see me again until you say, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Talking about second coming. Basically, when he came 3.5 years before, he says, you have made my father's house a den of thieves. 3.5 years later, he says, your house. Jesus is saying, this is not my house. You'll be desolate. I go, and you'll not see me back. Jesus is actually forsaking, leaving them, giving them up. And says, you don't follow me. You talk about me, but you don't do what you talk. You have no relationship with me. You have no way to show that you actually care, that you prepare, that you love me, that you love people. You don't do what I asked you to do. And Jesus is pretty sad, and he leaves Jerusalem, and he never goes back until second coming. And as he leaves Jerusalem, he walks on the Mount of Olives. And the spirit of prophecy in this hour of ages says that Jesus was quiet and sad. When he said, your house is left desolate. That was his people. It was painful. And the disciples try to cheer him up. They don't get it. They are so focused in what they think and what they do and their jobs and their TV programs and everything that they don't get it. And they say, look, we have a nice church, we have nice programs, we keep Sabbath, we even have a choir. And they say, look to the temple. Do you see the marble? Do you see the front yard and the lawn and the flowers? Do you see the gold between the rocks? And as it was evening, the spirit of prophecy says that the sun would throw rays on the shining marble and gold, and everything was just shining and beautiful and bright. And you're proud, we are God's people, and this is the temple, God's temple. And Jesus says to them, I tell you, there will be not stone over stone left over. The disciple says, that cannot happen. And Jesus says, yep, there will be nothing left over. So the disciples think, as Jewish people call eschaton. Can you say eschaton? Eschaton means the end of the world. Jewish people in the Greek Koine dialect Bible, in the Septuagint, thought, quote from the Bible, this is the eschaton. Jesus talks about the end of the world. They thought that the destruction of Jerusalem equals the end of the world. So they said to Jesus, when is this going to be, and when is going to be the end of the world? And they thought, they asked one question, but in fact they asked how many? They asked two questions. They thought they asked one, but they asked two. When is this going to happen? And when is the end of the world? And Jesus gives them a bunch of signs, and then Jesus gives them, at the end of the chapter, two analogies. The birth pain and the budding of the fig tree. So, by the way, the two parables are visible, progressive, and climactic. And then Jesus says 3 times, make sure that no one deceives you. And then Jesus gives them 12 signs of his coming. What are the 12 signs? Let's go through them quick as we can. Number 1, false Christs and false prophets. Well, I don't know how much you watch the news or read the news. I don't do it much anymore because all of them are bad news, nothing good, it gets you depressed. But I do read on the internet once in a while, BBC, because I don't like when this program is too much polarized with this political party and this program is too much polarized with the other political party. I like to be in the middle, I like to read the news. So I read BBC on the internet and Reuters, and I just kind of try to find some middle ground. So, you know what I see when I read the news? That Christ came already in Argentina. And we didn't get to worship him and we are lost. And then Christ also came in Brazil, and then Christ came to America. And his name is José Luis de Jesus Miranda. I don't know if you heard about him. Doesn't even matter. Because he was a drug addict, he was in prison, he was living with several women. He was not Christ. He was a God, but a different God. He served a different God, not my God. Talking about that, I'm going to give you a few details about him. Yep, I found it. It says here, he was on NBC, CBS, CNN, and ABC. On NBC News, he claimed to be Jesus himself. On his website, the title is, I am the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. Wow. That's pretty bold. He came to America and talking to Anderson Cooper on CNN. Anderson Cooper asked him, are you Jesus Christ? And he said, yes, I am. Many people follow him. 30 countries have been reached. 350 schools he has. 300 TV and radio programs. Over 300 pastors following him. Around 7 to 10 million followers. It's crazy. Why would people do that? I tell you why. They don't read their Bibles. People don't read their Bibles anymore. They just listen to others. You better read your Bible. By the way, Ellen White talks about something pretty strong. Pretty strong. Ellen White says, Jesus was already prepared to come in 1888. Have you read that quotation? You should have. And then she said, we were not ready. And then she says, like Israel, when they got to Jordan and God wanted to give them the promised land, they are not ready. They had to go back in the wilderness 40 years. And she says, we are not ready. So we had to wait for a new time. Now I ask you, why wait? Why wait? I tell you why. When you have a tree and you are supposed to harvest, if you don't harvest, you don't harvest tomorrow because you are late today. You have to wait for next year when the harvest is ready again. Do you follow me? What happened? Secularism came, communism came, Muslims became powerful, and now you have to wait until those people are reached and the tree is ripen again and is ready again to be picked. You follow me? Well, now is the time again. The fruit is ripened. The harvest is ready. But I tell you what, folks, we are not going to go back another 40 years. He who is not ready, it's out. There was not a third procrastination in the Israel history. Second time, they did